Welcome back to our channel. Today's recap is about a 1972 American crime thriller film called The Godfather. It is the first film in the trilogy about The Godfather. The narrative, which takes place between 1945 and 1955, follows the story of Corleone family under patriarch Vito Corleone, with particular attention paid to how his youngest son, Michael Corleone, and how he went from being a reluctant family outsider to a violent mafia lord. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. Connie Corleone and Carlo Rizzi's wedding reception is being attended by guests in late summer 1945. Friends and acquaintances refer to Vito, the boss of the Corleone Mafia, as Godfather. No Sicilian can refuse a request on his daughter's wedding day, according to Italian custom. Therefore, he and Tom Hagen, the Corleone family lawyer, are carrying requests for favors. Amerigo Bonasera, a successful mortician and friend of the Don, is one of the individuals who asks the Don for a favor. Amerigo's daughter was viciously beaten by two young men after she rejected their advances. The criminals received light punishment from the presiding court. The Don is disappointed in Bonasera because of Corleone's shady business operations, which prevented Bonasera from having much contact with the Don. The link between the godmother of Bonasera's disgraced daughter and the Don's wife allows the Don to take the Undertaker's new loyalty. If necessary, the Don consents to have his men punish the young men who did wrong in exchange for their continued service. While at the wedding, the Don's youngest son, Michael, a decorated U.S. Marine hero who served in World War II, tells his girlfriend, Kay Adams, anecdotes about his family, including his father's criminal life. He reassures her that he's different from his family and doesn't intend to join them in their criminal dealings. As Michael introduces Kay to the main characters during the wedding scene, it provides a crucial exposition for the rest of the movie. When Fredo, Michael's next elder brother, discovers him at the party, he's pretty inebriated and quite dim-witted. The Don's eldest son, Santino, often known by his nickname Sonny, is married but a hot-tempered philanderer who slips into a bedroom to have sex with Lucy Mancini, one of Connie's bridesmaids. Santino is next in line to succeed his father as Don when he retires. Since Tom Hagen was homeless when he made friends with Sonny, and the Don took him and took care of his upbringing and schooling, even though they're not blood relatives, Tom is regarded as one of the Don's sons. Despite not being of Sicilian descent, Tom is being prepared for the crucial post of Don's counselor as a competent attorney. The well-known singer Johnny Fontane, Corleone's godson, is also a visitor at the party. Guests traveled from Hollywood to ask Vito for assistance in getting a role in a movie that may revive his waning career. The decision by Jack Woltz, the studio's head, to deny Fontane the role will only increase his star power. The Don also answers a request from the baker Nazarene, who prepared Connie's wedding cake, who wants his nephew Enzo to become an American citizen, and receives congratulations from Luca Brasi, a formidable enforcer in the criminal underworld. Woltz angrily informs Hagen that he would never cast Fontane in the part when Hagen is sent to meet with him in Los Angeles after the wedding. Because Fontane ruined a starlet whom Woltz had been grooming for fame and with whom he had a sexual relationship, Woltz harbors resentment. However, Woltz is persuaded to grant Johnny the part when he awakens early the following morning and discovers something moist in his bed. He screams in terror as he pulls back the sheets to see himself in a pool of blood and the severed skull of his prized Khartoum, a $600,000 stud horse lying next to him. The family meets with Virgil the Turk Sollozzo, who's supported by the competing Tattaglia family after Hagen returns. For the purpose of importing and selling heroin, he approaches Don Corleone for financial support as well as political and legal protection. Despite the enormous profit to be had, Vito Corleone declines, claiming that doing so would undermine his political influence since the judges and politicians he has linked himself with over the course of many years will break off their relations with him. Sonny, the Don's eldest son, breaks ranks during the meeting after earlier urging the family to work in the drug trade. He starts to doubt Sollozzo's promises that the Tattaglia family will stand by the investment made by the Corleone family. Sonny's father silences him with a single glance after becoming enraged at his disagreement with a non-family member and subsequently reprimands him in private. Then Don Corleone sends Luca Brasi to spy on Sollozzo's organization to bring back intelligence. Brasi is stabbed in the hand by Sollozzo during the meeting when he's stooping to allow Bruno Tattaglia to light a cigarette, and is then garroted by an assassin. Don Corleone is shot and killed in an attempted assassination outside of his office shortly after his meeting with Sollozzo, and it's not immediately clear if he survived. Sonny instructs Clemenza, one of his father's two Caparagimes, to locate Paulie and bring him to the Don's residence after learning about Don being shot at Paulie's departure. Tom Hagen is kidnapped by Sollozzo, who holds him captive for several hours until convincing him to make the same bargain he did with Sonny's father. Sollozzo learns that Don has survived the assassination attempt when Tom is freed. Tom is sternly instructed by him to persuade Sonny to accept his offer. He phones Sonny for assistance, takes his father to another room, and goes outside to keep an eye on the door after realizing that his father is once more being set up to be assassinated. Enzo the baker, who has visited the hospital to pay his respects, offers his assistance to Michael. They deceive Sollozzo's soldiers as they pass by, bluffing together. Soon after, the unscrupulous Captain McCluskey is brought in by police cars. When Michael suggests that Sollozzo bribe Mikulski to frame his father, Mikulski savagely hits Michael in the cheek and fractures his jaw. Just then, Hagen, who's protecting Don Corleone, shows up with private detectives armed with permits, and he takes to herd Michael home. In response, Sonny sends Bruno Tartaglia, Don Phillips' eldest son and underboss, killed. Sollozzo asks for a meeting after the hospital where the Don was being attacked for his life. Sonny and the other senior family members laugh when Michael offers to kill both men during the meeting. Nevertheless, Michael persuades them that he's serious and that executing Sollozzo and Mikulski is in the family's best interests. Michael won't be viewed as the Corleone's dubious envoy because he's regarded as a civilian. Michael also makes the implication that newspaper writers employed by the Corleone family would enjoy writing stories about a dishonest police captain. Clemenza meets with Michael and gives him a tiny pistol after taping the trigger and grip to hide any fingerprint traces. He advises Michael to leave the pistol behind and gives him instructions on how to carry out the murder. A war such as the one that'll be sparked by the murders of Sollozzo and Mikulski is required roughly every 5 to 10 years to clear out the ambition and resentment that develops between the five families. He also tells Michael that his family is very proud of him for becoming a war hero during his time in the Marines. Michael receives assurance from Clemenza that he can do the job well and that everything will go according to plan. The idea is to plant the revolver and have Corleone's informers locate the meeting's location. Before leaving for the meeting, Sonny promises Michael that he will let Kay know that they won't be saying goodbye. Before the meeting, Mikulski searches Michael for weapons but finds none during the search in the Bronx's little Italian eatery. After a short while, Michael excuses himself to go to the restaurant, where he takes the concealed revolver with him. When he gets back to the table, he shoots Mikulski first before killing Sollozzo. In Sicily, Michael is told to hide. The Don is devastated to find that Michael killed Sollozzo and Mikulski 3 months later when he comes home from the hospital. The marriage of Connie and Carlo is breaking down in the meantime. Carlo's alleged infidelity and his possessive manner toward Connie are common topics of contention between them. No one, even a high-ranking mafia don, is permitted to become involved in a married couple's personal issues in Italy, whether they entail infidelity, money, or domestic violence. Connie tells Sonny that Carlo hit her when she questioned him about having an affair when he noticed a bruise on her face one day. In the midst of a busy street, Sonny finds Carlo and violently beats him for torturing the pregnant Connie. He then threatens to murder Carlo if he ever hurts Connie again. In retaliation, a furious Carlo concocts a plan to have Sonny killed alongside the Corleone's main adversaries, Tartaglia and Don Emilio Barsini. In order to draw Sonny outside and away from the Corleone complex, Carlo uses the altercation to beat Connie. Sonny is furious and goes off to carry out his threat against Carlo after Connie calls the compound to report that Carlo had assaulted Connie once more. On his way to Connie and Carlo's residence, Sonny is ambushed at a toll booth in the long-distance causeway by several cars of hitmen brandishing Thompson submachine pistols. Sonny is then brutally shot to death. The Don receives word of Sonny's murder through Tom Hagen, and he asks Bonacera for permission to personally oversee the embalming of Sonny's body. Vito arranges a conference with the five families after learning of Sonny's passing and growing weary of the battle. He promises them that he will stop opposing their drug operation and forgo exacting revenge for Sonny's murder. After being assured of his safety, Michael goes back home to start the family business and marry Kay. In the early 1950s, Kay gives birth to 2 children. Michael takes over as head of the Corleone family as his father approaches the end of his life, and Fredo isn't qualified to do so. Michael is informed by Vito that Don Barzini was the one who gave the order to kill Sonny, and Vito also forewarns him that Barzini would make an attempt on his life at a gathering called by a treacherous Corleone capo. Michael demotes Hagen to overseeing operations in Las Vegas because he's not a wartime consigliere, with Vito's assistance. Michael is shocked to discover that Fredo is more devoted to Green than to his own family when he flies to Las Vegas to buy out Green's part in the family's casinos. Vito passes away from a heart attack in 1955. Tescho's treachery is indicated when he asks Michael to meet with Barzini at Vito's burial. The meeting is scheduled for the same day as Connie's child's baptism. The five families, Dons and Green, are killed by Corleone hitmen as Michael, the child's godfather, stands at the altar, and Tescho is put to death for his betrayal. After getting Carlo to admit to being involved in Sonny's murder, Michael assures him that he's merely being banished, not killed, and Clemenza then executes Carlo by brutally torturing him. While Kay is present, Connie confronts Michael about Carlo's passing. Kay queries Michael about Connie's veracity and is relieved when he replies negatively. Capos enters the office and salutes Michael as Don Corleone before shutting the door as Kay leaves. And that's all about this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with such interesting movie recap videos here.